Friends, listen to the truth that rings out across every battlefield, every sickbed, and every empty bank account. Your faith is being tested, but God is closer than ever. There is no gentle path to lasting conviction. You are not meant to float through life on a calm sea. The trials you are facing right now, the doubt that creeps into your mind at midnight, the betrayal that stabs at your heart, the seemingly insurmountable wall of despair. These are not random acts of cruelty. These are the very fires, the very crucibles designed to strip away your superficial beliefs and forge a faith that is solid, true, and unshakable. Billy Graham taught us that God uses the hard times, the valleys of the shadow, to refine his children, not to reject them. The great lie that the enemy whispers to you in this testing moment is that you are alone. He wants you to believe that because the road is rough, the Lord must have abandoned you. But I am here tonight to tell you that the opposite is true. The very severity of the test is proof of the power being wrought in your life. Think about the shepherd. When a flock is grazing safely in a meadow, the shepherd stands distant, watching. But when the wolf circles, when the storm breaks, where does the shepherd go? He draws in close. He is right there at the point of greatest danger, because that is where his protection is most needed. You are in the storm right now, and the reason you feel the pressure so intensely is because God is closer to you than he has ever been before. He is not a distant judge observing your struggle. He is the immediate presence sustaining you through it. He is the quiet strength that allows you to take the next necessary step when you have no strength left of your own. Your test is your testimony in the making. Every single trial you overcome today is a chapter you will one day share to lift someone else out of their despair. Do not waste this suffering. Do not let this pain be meaningless. Use this test to stop relying on your own frail power and start leaning entirely on the solid rock of his faithfulness. Hold fast to the promise. When the fire is hottest, the refiner is watching the closest. You are being purified for a greater purpose. Turn your eyes away from the temporary trial and look to the everlasting support. God is closer than ever. Trust him, stand firm, and watch him turn this test into your ultimate triumph. Friends, let us settle on the enduring, essential truth that anchored the ministry of Billy Graham and sustained millions of faithful souls. Testing is for refining. This is the first principle we must internalize when the shadows lengthen and the burdens feel too heavy to bear. The trials you are facing right now, the quiet despair that settles over your soul, the betrayal that wounds your heart, the doubt that whispers that your faith is weak, these are not senseless acts of cosmic malice. They are not random misfortunes. They are the very fires, the very crucibles designed by God to forge a solid, unshakable faith. The great error that many good people make is viewing tribulation as proof of divine displeasure or abandonment. When the economy crashes, when the doctor delivers bad news, or when a loved one turns away, we cry out, "Why me?" and believe we are being punished. But Billy Graham always insisted on a higher interpretation. These moments are evidence that God is invested in your ultimate spiritual growth. He is not rejecting you. He is refining you. Think about gold. Gold in its raw state is impure, mixed with dross and base metals. To make it valuable, to make it shine with its true worth, it must be subjected to intense heat. The refiner doesn't put the gold into the fire to destroy it. He puts it into the fire to purify it. The dross, the superficial beliefs, the worldly attachments, the self-reliance that actually weakens your soul is burned away, leaving behind a faith that is pure and resilient. Your current test is precisely that furnace. It is designed to strip away the superficial elements of your belief. The things you only believed because life was comfortable, because friends were supportive, or because your prayers seemed instantly answered. Now, in the lack of comfort and the face of difficulty, you are forced to ask, do I really believe this? Is my trust rooted in the circumstances or in the immutable character of God himself? This process is painful, yes, but it is purposeful. It creates a substance to your faith that cannot be shaken by the next storm. A faith that is not tested is a fragile thing, easily broken. A faith that has passed through the fire is an anchor, solid, true, and dependable. Therefore, do not run from the test. Understand its purpose. Embrace the process, knowing that the pressure is producing endurance, and endurance is producing character, and that character is producing the hope that will never put you to shame. God is using the hard times to elevate your soul and prepare you for a greater, more impactful purpose. Let us focus now on the second mighty truth that must sustain you in the midst of your battle. Testing proves presence. This is the direct refutation of the most devastating lie the adversary whispers to you when your strength is failing. The enemy wants you to believe that because the road is rough, because your prayers feel unanswered, and because the pain is intense, the Lord has abandoned you. He wants you to equate hardship with distance, suggesting that your suffering is evidence of his absence. But I declare to you tonight, as Billy Graham declared to millions, the opposite is the absolute truth. The very severity of the test is proof of the power being wrought in your life. The intensity of the fire is not a sign that the refiner has walked away. It is a sign that he is close, meticulously supervising the process. Think of it logically in terms of spiritual warfare. If your life were meaningless, if your soul posed no threat to the darkness, you would be left alone, adrift in comfortable mediocrity. But the moment you commit to the light, the moment you step forward in faith and purpose, the resistance intensifies. The storms do not rage against empty ships. They rage against vessels carrying precious cargo and charting a decisive course. The fact that you are under fierce attack right now, the fact that your faith is being tested to its limits, is the clearest possible indication that you are important to the kingdom and that a powerful work is underway within you. The severity of the test is proof that God is not just observing, he is invested. He allows the pressure not to crush you, but because the pressure is necessary to compress the dross out of your soul and bring forth the true brilliance of your character. A weight is put upon you precisely because he trusts the spiritual structure he has built within you to bear it. You are not being broken. You are being strengthened for the greater ministry and the greater purpose that lies ahead. So when the doubt creeps in, when the pain screams that you are alone, reject the lie immediately. Turn your heart to the cross and remember the promise. The trials of life are not a signal of divine distance. They are a sign of divine proximity. God is not waiting for your test to end before he returns. He is right there in the fire, sustaining you, strengthening you, and preparing the moment of your triumph. Do not waste your energy questioning his presence. Instead, use that energy to lean into the pressure, knowing that the very heat of your trial is the proof that the master is closer than ever before, guaranteeing your victory. Let us turn our gaze now to the third mighty reassurance that transforms our perception of suffering. God is the immediate shepherd. This truth utterly dismantles the image of a distant, uncaring deity and replaces it with the vivid, comforting reality of his protective presence, a reality that Billy Graham brought to bear on every anxious heart. We often imagine God as a king on a distant throne, issuing decrees and watching our struggles from afar. But when the trial comes, when the wolf circles, when the financial storm breaks, when the illness sets in, that is precisely the moment when his nature as the good shepherd is most profoundly revealed. Where does the shepherd go when the flock is safe, grazing peacefully in the green pasture? He stands distant, observing. But when genuine danger arrives, when the darkness gathers, when the sheep is truly lost or cornered, where does the shepherd go? He draws in close. He is right there at the point of greatest danger, because that is where his protection and intervention are most desperately needed. You are in the storm right now, and the reason you feel the pressure so intensely, the reason you feel the sustained burden of this test is because God is closer to you than he has ever been before. He is not merely observing your struggle from a heavenly vantage point. He is the immediate presence sustaining you through it. He is the quiet strength that allows you to take the next necessary step when you have absolutely no strength left of your own. He is the hand that lifts you when you stumble and the voice that guides you when all external light is extinguished. This is not a theoretical comfort, it is an operational reality of the Spirit. When you are weakest, His power is made perfect. When your resources are exhausted, His grace is made sufficient. He is the immediate shepherd, meaning His help is not scheduled for some vague point in the future. It is available now in this very instant of your need. The test is allowed to continue precisely because the shepherd is with you. If you were truly alone, the trial would have already consumed you. The fact that you are still standing, still fighting, still breathing hope into the dark, that is the undeniable evidence of the immediate sustaining power of the Almighty. Your inability to quit is His faithfulness at work. So when the anxiety mounts, when the fear tries to paralyze you, do not look at the size of your trial. Look to the proximity of your shepherd. Turn your eyes from the temporary danger and focus on the everlasting, immediate support that is wrapping itself around you. Trust that the one who allowed the storm is the only one powerful enough to walk you through it. Cling to the assurance that in the fiercest part of the valley, He is closer than your own breath, and He will not leave you to face the darkness alone. Let us address the profound purpose hidden within your present difficulties, a truth that transforms suffering from a source of despair into a source of inspiration. Suffering creates testimony. This is the critical shift in perspective that Billy Graham urged every believer to make, to recognize that the pain you endure today is not meaningless, but is the raw material being prepared for your future ministry and the future encouragement of others. The common human tendency is to want to escape the suffering, to have the trial end immediately. But if we escape too quickly, we miss the immense value that the crucible provides. We miss the opportunity to generate a powerful living testimony that can reach people that no sermon, no book, and no piece of distant advice ever could. The chapters of your life that people will truly connect with, the moments that will provide light in their deepest darkness, will not be the times of ease and comfort. They will be the stories of how you survived the impossible. Every single trial you overcome today, every financial blow you absorb while maintaining your integrity, every moment of betrayal you meet with forgiveness, every wave of doubt you conquer by clinging to the promise is a chapter you are writing right now. This is a chapter you will one day share to lift someone else out of their despair, someone who is walking the exact same valley you are traversing today. Your current pain is the price of admission to a future ministry of comfort and power. Do not, I implore you, waste this suffering. Do not let this pain be meaningless. If you allow the trial to crush your faith, the suffering was in vain. But if you hold fast to the Lord, if you stand firm, and if you emerge from the fire with your integrity intact and your trust deepened, that suffering becomes transformed into spiritual authority. You gain the hard-won right to tell someone else, I know exactly where you are, and I know exactly how God can sustain you there. The adversary wants you to be silent about your struggles, to hide your pain and pretend everything is fine. But the Lord wants you to walk through the fire, knowing that your eventual testimony will be a flaming torch in the darkness for those who follow. Your current test is not a secret shame. It is a powerful witness in the making. It is the proof that faith works, not just on Sunday morning, but in the trenches of Monday afternoon. So endure this moment, not just for your own salvation, but for the salvation of those whose hope depends on your perseverance. Refuse to let the pain be merely personal. Dedicate your struggle to a higher purpose, knowing that your endurance is generating a testimony so powerful that it will reach hearts that have closed themselves off to everything else. This suffering has a purpose, and that purpose is to make you a vessel of comfort and an undeniable witness to His sustaining grace. Let us consider the profound lesson embedded in the crucible of testing, the truth that radically redefines our source of strength, the call to dependence. This is the core spiritual operation of the trial, and the reason Billy Graham taught that the hard times are often the most valuable. The purpose of the test is to force you to stop relying on your own frail, finite power and to lean entirely on the solid rock of his faithfulness and everlasting support. Our human nature is fiercely proud. We want to be self-sufficient, capable, and in control. We start every endeavor, our marriage, our career, our spiritual walk, with the firm conviction that our intellect, our willpower, and our carefully constructed plans will see us through. This self-reliance, while valued by the world, is actually the single greatest inhibitor to experiencing the fullness of God's power. It places a finite ceiling on what you can achieve, because the moment your own resources are exhausted, your life grinds to a halt. God permits the test, the moment of profound weakness, the feeling of utter powerlessness, precisely to shatter that illusion of self-sufficiency. He allows the pressure to mount until you realize definitively that your strength is insufficient for the task at hand. When you come to the end of yourself, when you have exhausted every plan and every ounce of your own willpower, that is not failure. That is the moment of breakthrough. The test is the divine training ground where we learn true, absolute dependence. It is the moment we stop striving and start trusting. It is the moment we stop carrying the burden and willingly lay it at the foot of the cross. The power of the Lord is not meant to supplement your strength. It is meant to replace your weakness. As the scripture tells us, His power is made perfect in our weakness. This call to dependence is ultimately a call to unconditional trust. It means trusting Him even when the outcome looks bleak, even when the financial statements are terrifying, and even when the doubt is overwhelming. It is relying on His faithfulness, His unchangeable nature, and His perfect promises, rather than on the fluctuating circumstances of the world. So when you feel weakest, when you feel you cannot take another step, do not despair. That feeling is the successful completion of the first stage of the test, the demolition of self-reliance. Now immediately move to the second stage, sao, complete dependence. Stop trying to lift the burden with your own exhausted hands. Lean entirely upon the solid rock that cannot be moved. This shift from striving to absolute dependence is what unlocks the infinite sustaining power of the Almighty, turning your moment of greatest weakness into a demonstration of His inexhaustible strength. Let us conclude our examination of the testing with the most glorious, forward-looking truth that fuels every enduring soul, the promise of triumph. This is the ultimate certainty that Billy Graham offered to those standing in the fiery furnace, assuring them that the present pain is not a permanent state, but a necessary process leading directly to victory. The central promise is that when the fire is hottest, the refiner is watching the closest. The Lord is not indifferent to the heat you are enduring. He is meticulously supervising it, ensuring that the pressure is precisely enough to burn away the dross, the impurity of doubt and self-reliance, but never enough to destroy the pure gold, your faith and character. The very intensity of your trial is the gauge of His attention. You are being purified for a greater purpose, a ministry, and a destiny that demands a soul forged in endurance. This promise transforms the nature of suffering. It shifts your focus from the immediate crushing weight of the present to the guaranteed victorious outcome of the future. The test is temporary. The triumph is eternal. Your assurance is that by standing firm, by refusing to yield to despair, and by clinging to the promise of His word, the current test will inevitably be turned into your ultimate triumph. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from the perspective of a guaranteed victory. This understanding provides the resilience needed to persevere. If you knew the exact moment the trial would end, you could endure anything. While we do not know the timetable, we know the result. We know the refiner will pull the gold out when it is pure. Therefore, every act of endurance, every refusal to compromise, every prayer whispered in the darkness is an investment in the power and brilliance of your future testimony. You are proving through your perseverance that His power is sufficient. The promise of triumph means that the suffering you endure will not be wasted. It will not just end, it will be redeemed. The Lord will take the very wounds and scars you receive in this battle and transform them into marks of honor and authority, becoming the source of your greatest power and effectiveness in ministering to others. The darkest part of your story becomes the brightest part of your testimony. So stand fast in this assurance. Let the pain remind you that the process is working. The trial has a time limit, but the triumph has an everlasting quality. Trust Him, remain faithful, and understand that you are not merely getting through this. You are being prepared for a purpose that is worthy of the struggle. This test is the final hurdle before you claim the promise. Hold to the promise and let the certainty of triumph fuel your endurance today.